Hello and welcome to Living Right with Chris. My name is Chris Speaking, and I'm super excited to welcome you to this week's episode of our weekly series. It's the month of February, and this month I said in my welcome video to February that this month we're going to focus more on the teenagers, right? So, what we're going to be doing for the 4 weeks of this month is applicable to all, but with more emphasis on the teens, right? So, um, it's the fact that it's the month of love, and it is pertinent on us to discuss issues that relates to um, relationships, intimacy, and all of that, right? So, it's a good month to you know speak to the heart of teenagers and for everyone, right? So it's not a time for condemnation, right? But a time to speak wisdom into their heart so that they don't make mistakes, right, in their decisions. And then their eyes are open to what it is that really matter, so they don't just go with the flow of the crowd. So this week, we're going to be talking about friendships. The truth is, as humans, we are created we're created for relationships. And there is an innate affinity to be affiliated or you know related to other people by way of blood relations or friendships, as it were. We're created as relational beings. We're created for relationships, so we naturally crave for relationships, and friendship is a form of relationship. you know Friendship talks about those who are really in your circle. So I ask the question: who is really in your circle? Right? The truth is, your friendship don't just keep you company. They shape your thinking, they shape your choices and your confidence, and also they shape your future. The thing is, you are what you think. So it means that if friendship have the ability to shape how you think, it means that they already have the ability to determine who you are. That's no wonder a wise man once said that, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. That is instructive because the fact remains that friendship, the people in your inner circle, they determine the way you think, they shape the way you think, they influence the way you think, they influence your choices. And then they also influence your confidence, and all of these, influence your future, ultimately influencing who you are. So, who you are right now, they say it's a combination of all the choices you have made. And the friendship you have had in all of these years contribute to the choices you have made because friendship have influence in relationships, right, in your life. They have influence over your choices. They have influence over the way that you think. So why does friendship matter more than we think? Why? I'll run down to a few points I've written down. The first point is that friendship matter more than what we think because they influence how teenagers especially see themselves. Even for adults, you know, friendship influence how people see themselves. So the circle that you roll with have a way of making you see yourself within the limits of that circle. They also influence what we consider to be normal. So your friendship, consider what is normal because that circle that you are in, anything that is normal within that circle ordinarily becomes your normal. So friendship influence how you view, you know, life, your worldview. So what you see as normal, perhaps is not the original um, thoughts that you had or the original mindset of yours, but it's a mindset that has been influenced by the people around you. Friendship influence the decision that we make under pressure. So when things come and we want to make decisions about them, one of the considerations that we make, especially for teenagers, is the people around us. What do they think about it? How would they feel about it? What would they say about it? These are the things we consider to make choices, especially for teenagers. Friendship also influences values. The values, the habits, and the direction life of an individual. So the friendship that you think have so much influence in your life. Many things, many teenagers they think that I hear them say sometimes that we're just friends. It's not that deep. But the truth is that influence does not come all of a sudden. It is subtle. Influence often happens quietly but gradually, right? So before long, those things that you hold as your core value because of the environment, the circle of influence that you call friends that you have around you, before you know, you begin to lower on your values, you know, make excuses for them. And before long, you will no longer live by your original principles, but you now live by the inherited principle or values of the community you find yourself. Someone once said that your environment is bigger than your values. So if you surround yourself with people who do not share the same values with you, before long you begin to imbibe their own values at the detriment of your own values because of the power of influence. And this doesn't come all of a sudden. It comes, gradually, quietly, subtly, but powerfully. It has the power to destroy all of your differences. It doesn't happen instantly, no, but at the end, you would have been influenced. So, friends or your friendship that you keep affect your speech, your dressing, your goals, and your behavior. Have you seen people who, because of their circle of friends, begin to speak like them? They begin to mimic them in speech, not consciously, but because they have stayed together for a while, they begin to talk like their friends. So when you see a couple of friends who have been together for a long time, they all act similarly. It means that one or two persons within that circle would have traded their own personality for the group personality, what they have carried, imbibed as a person. And do you know that what they have imbibed as their corporate personality is actually the personality of one or a few of them within that circle? Now, there are questions I want to ask. How does friendship now affect speech, dressing, goals, and behavior of a person? Why does loneliness make teens tolerate unhealthy friendship? Because we have seen that there are some teenagers who are in, having friendships, they're in a friendship relationship with people they have no business having such relationships with. People who do not share the same value with them. What are you having, friendship with that kind of person? But I've seen that most times it is loneliness that push certain teenagers into some circles that they should not be in. They know that this circle is not the right place to go. I've heard people who, you know, were lured into cultism, right, as teenagers, lamenting to say it was loneliness. That you just needed someone to they didn't have any friend, and the only person that came was a cultist. And then they began to talk and became friends, and before long they're influenced. They want to now be like their friend. And then they're initiated into cultism. That is what loneliness can drive, a young person into vices that they were not originally, you know, brought up with. They had good home training, had good values, but met the wrong circle of friends, and then they're influenced into all manner of vices. So I've heard teenagers say, "Oh, we're just friends. It's not that deep." But the truth is that friendship influences everyone, whether teenagers or whether an adult, right? And influence does not happen all of a sudden. It is subtle. Influence often happens quietly and gradually. But before long, you begin to see that you have imbibed certain traits and characteristics that you didn't have before. That is the power of influence. And friendship influences faster than any other, kind of influence. So I ask a question: how friends affect speech, dressing, and goals, and even the behavior of others? It affects it by influence. The more you stay in a circle, the more that circle begin to influence you, even at the detriment of your values. Someone once said that your environment is more powerful than your values. So even if you have good core values, you are from a good home, well trained, with strong values, with the wrong friendship, Before long, your values will be eroded. No wonder a wise man once said that, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. That is the power of influence. Because friendship have a way of influencing, you know, the people within that friendship. And friendship is the environment of a person. It's an environment of a person. And if you are in the wrong environment, before you know it, you are now acting up like the environment that you find yourself, because the influence of your environment is stronger than the influence of your values. And do you know that loneliness is one of the drivers of teenagers who enter into unhealthy friendships? I've seen people who have heard stories, and I've talked to people, young people who went into cultism, from good homes, Christian homes, good values, good upbringing, but they didn't have friends. And that loneliness pushed them to any available person that showed forth. And then you see an established cultist come to them, make friendship with them, show them kindness and love, and then before you know, introduce them into cultism, and that's how they got hooked. For some of them, they got hooked into drugs and other vices, right? Because they were lonely. But that in itself is not an excuse. Another reason why people also run into any kind of friendship, not minding the influence it would have on them and on their value, is the human need for belonging. We are created for relationships. We're created for friendship. We are relational beings. So that innate yearning for a man to be connected to others usually lead people into any form of friendship, relationship around. But we must pause and think. This friendship I'm cultivating with this person or with this group of people, is it healthy enough for my spiritual life, for my well-being, for my security, for my mental health? Is it healthy enough for the values that I'm known for? And then I want to ask this question: who do you become when you're around your friends? Are you yourself, or you pick up another character when you're with your friend? And when you are withdrawn from them, you begin to, have you have to now reprocess all you have become in the face of your friends. That you're not real. You're living a dual life. When you are with them, you act like them, and when you're not with them, you regret acting in that manner. And you try as much as possible to be the person that you really are. And I did ask you, who are you when you're with your friend? Is there any difference in your personality when you're with your friend and when you're not with them? Then, have you ever done something just to avoid being left out? Just avoid being the odd one out? You feel, oh, I I don't want to be seen as though I don't belong here. So you begin to do certain things just to belong. Have you ever been caught in that web? I want to tell you that that is one of the worst place to be. The worst thing you can ever do to yourself is not to be yourself in bid to please others. That's the worst thing you can do to yourself. Now there are various types of friends. I'll run through them. Friends can come as builders, as drainers, or as spectators. For builders, they are friends who encourage your growth, who celebrate your progress, who correct you in love when you are wrong, who respect your boundaries. And the effect is that builders, they push you forward, they push you to your goals, they push you closer to achieving your goals. And then there are drainers. These are friends who pressure you to compromise on your values. These are friends who even mock your values. These are friends who create drama and negativity around you. They only show up when they need something from you. These are drainers. And the effect of drainers is that they slowly wear you down. So when you have an audit of your life and you see that there's people around you who drains you, I mean, a friendship audit, which we should have, by the way, at every point in time, audit the friends in your life to know where they fall into in all of these categories of friendship. The third category are the spectators. And these are friends who are always around but never invested in you. They watch your life without adding any value to you. They don't defend or support you when it matters the most. They are in for themselves. They are what is in it for me. They can't stand up for you even when you're not there to back. They can't speak up for you. They're just there watching you, but they are there present, but they're not invested emotionally. They're not committed to you. And the effect of this kind of friendship is that they are neutral, but largely unreliable. You can't bank on them. You can't rely on them. They're just there. So I was saying that we must take an audit of our lives. We must take an audit of, the the people around us that we call friends, because this will help us place them in the right categories. Because it is true that not everyone in your circle deserves the same access, and friends have to change as you grow. In fact, it is a given that friends must change as you grow. It is normal. So when you begin to have friendship and you commit yourself to them, friendship you have outgrown, you should outgrow it. Because they are friends for a season, they are friends for life, yes, they are friends for particular purpose. So you must understand the kind of friendship that you have. That is why we must do a friendship audit of our life every point in time. Yes, there are communal friends, friends that are for life, but there are friends that are for a season of your life. When that season is over, then that friendship, you have to move because you have outgrown that friendship. And there are friends who have refused to grow. And when you grow and they're refusing to grow along with you, you have to outgrow them and let them be. And then the reason for that audit also is to tell you whether you have builders around you, or you have drainers around you, or you have just spectators who are just there to listen, to watch you and not have any meaningful contribution to your life. They might not be draining you, they're not adding value, they're just there. All right? So I want you to ask yourself, which type shows up the most in my life? Ask yourself, which friend shows up the most in my life? Also ask yourself, can a good person still be a bad influence? I want to throw a little light on that. A good person that shows goodness, as it were, and of course, goodness is not a skill, can still influence you badly, can be good but lazy, and begin to influence you to become lazy. And the truth is that people who are rewarded are people who are diligent, who do their work diligently, not lazy or slothful people. No. So yes, a good person can have a bad influence in an area of life to an individual. So you must audit your friends. You must do a spiritual audit and a physical audit of the people around you, your circle of influence. And it is very important that you do that. Another thing that we must know is that peer pressure, whether spoken or unspoken, is one of the strongest ways through which people are influenced in their friendships. Peer pressure. Oh, this person have done this, have not been able to achieve it, and then you are pressured. And I've said that it can come in form of spoken pressure or unspoken pressure. Spoken pressure deals with things like everyone is doing it, or words that come from your circle to say, don't be boring, and then it be to make them feel or to feel belonged, right? You will then begin to do the things that are against your personal value. Spoken pressure also deals with issues like if you don't join us, then you're not part of us. Something like if you're not with us, then you're against us. So if you don't join us to do this, then it means that you're not with us, right? That is spoken pressure. Unspoken pressure comes in form of fear of being laughed at. That is internal. The person being pressured now. It's things that are not spoken to you, but they're things that you have internalized by yourself. And one of it is fear of being laughed at. That's okay. Oh, they will think that I'm a novice. Hey, or fear of rejection. Oh, if I don't do what they're doing, they might not see me as part of them. They might reject me as their friend. They might not see me as a friend. Fear of being alone. That okay, if they not leave me, reject me, that I'm not doing what they're doing, and they don't want to play with me anymore, I will not be alone. That's fear. And fear of missing out. That you I want to know what's happening there. I just want to know. Not that you're using it for anything. You just getting data that you don't need for anything. You want to know what's happening there. So the fact is, peer pressure is one of the greatest form of influence, especially for teenagers, whether they are spoken pressure or unspoken pressure. So most pressure are emotional, they're not verbal. They're emotional torments that an individual feel because he or she tends to compare himself with others. And that is one of the, you know, most unhealthy thing that an individual can do against himself, to compare yourself with another. And then I begin to ask myself, why do things struggle to say no? Why do most people grow up learning not, how not to say no? And every request that comes, they will rather, you know, uh, they would rather go against their values, or rather, hurt themselves in being to please others. It is that deep. They would rather discomfort themselves just to please another. Influence. Silence can feel louder than words. And those unspoken times, or those times when words are not spoken, where they are silent, but giving you the body language of what they want, then it's easier to even influence an individual, even not in words, but in the action of the people around you. So even their silence, they're not saying anything. That's why I spoke about unspoken influence. That unspoken influence is so powerful because you see them walking, acting what they want you to do without saying it. They act it out, and they want you to come along and join them in the act. But they might not have said a word, but they have said it in their attitude. And do you know that a teenager's confidence drops when he or she now seeks approval as a need? That I want to belong, I need to belong. And without that, you're now lost in yourself. That's one of the greatest disservice you can do to yourself, where approval of others becomes a strong need for you, that you can do anything to gain the approval of a fellow man. Now, I think that is a no-no. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt pressure without anyone saying anything? Unspoken pressure. Have you ever experienced it? Another thing I want to talk about is loyalty, betrayal, and fake friendships. The fact is that loyalty is not knowing secrets. Loyalty is not being around all the time. Loyalty is not posting pictures together. No, loyalty is showing up when it costs you something. Loyalty is commitment. It's not just superficial attachment. No, it's true commitment. Loyalty is standing in for someone, even at the person's back, without being spoken to defend the integrity of that person. That is loyalty. And it must cost you something. So if you're in a circle where nobody can vouch for you, standing for you, even when it costs them, then you're not in the right circle. I want to give you some warning signs of fake friendships. One of some of the warning signs of fake friendship is one, gossiping behind your back, or even gossiping others to you. It means that person should not be trusted as a friend. So public embarrassment disguised as jokes, then you should not. That is not the right place to be. Another characteristic of fake friendship is support in public, sabotage in private. In public, hey, we're out together, but in private, they are sabotaging your efforts, bringing you down, don't wanting you to rise above them, right? So they begin to thwart your effort. Excuse me. So another characteristic of fake friendship is they're only present in good times. When there is a challenge, they disappear until that challenge is settled, and then you're not doing well again. The next minute you see them coming back, right? So these are things you should look out for. One, have been signs of fake friendship. Those who gossip behind your back or gossip others to you should be avoided. Public embarrassment disguised as jokes. People who do that should really be avoided. Also, people who support you in public but sabotage your effort in private should be avoided. And then those who are only present in good times, they should be avoided. Then, when and how to walk away from toxic friends. When is the right time to walk away? Now, I will say that any moment you feel uncomfortable in any circle, walk away. My coach would say that the dad told them that any day you see that this friends becomes toxic to you, becomes um, you know unfavorable to you, or does not align with your values, walk away. You are not a tree. Only trees are planted and stay in one place. Walk away. Any friendship that undermines your person, that makes you feel less of yourself, walk away from it. You're not a tree. Please walk away. So any friendship where you keep compromising your values, please walk away. Any friendship where you feel drained after every interaction, please walk away. Any friendship where you are afraid to be yourself, please walk away. Any friendship where you cannot speak up your mind, they shush you or shut you down, please walk away. Any friendship where growth feels impossible in friendship, please walk away. Walk away. You are not a tree. Then how to walk away wisely, I'll say that very briefly. So you must walk away not with insults or drama. Just go. Not through online fight or exposure. No, just walk. Just go. Because relationships are felt by constant communication, having conversation. When you cut off the line of conversation, you walk away peacefully, yes, but there's no series of conversation like you used to have, then that friendship would die naturally. Because the lifeline or the life wire for every friendship relationship is communication. So if you can cut off that communication, then other things will take their natural course, and the person will find himself or herself away from you, right? So walk away not with drama or insult, like I said. Walk away not from online fight or exposure. No, walk away with clarity, with boundaries, and with self-respect. Let your boundaries be known ab initio. For any friendship relationship you're entering into, your boundaries must be told, right? So I want you to know that walking away is not pride. Sometimes it is self-preservation. It is not pride. The fear of loneliness or the fear of peace of mind. Which one should you prefer? Choosing growth over popularity. Which one would you prefer? Trusting that better connections will come, or hanging on to a toxic relationship, friendship, or whatever that you have. Which one works best? So we must begin to put all of this in our hearts. It will help us go a long way in choosing our circle of influence. But I want to ask us as we close, or rather, let me ask you as a question. I want you to go home with it. The first thing I will ask you, who influences you the most right now? Where are you heading because of your choices? Where are you heading because of your circle, your friendships? What kind of friend are you to others? Are you a drainer? Are you just an onlooker, or you are a builder? Which category do you follow? So, things I want us to do this week, I mentioned it before, we must do our friendship audit. Do it this month. Write down 3 people you spend the most time with. Then ask yourself, do they help me grow? Do they drain me? Or do they just watch me? So another thing I want to do is decide one boundary or adjust one this week, right? One boundary that you cannot cross, that no one will to cross, right? So that you can begin to establish boundaries even before you establish relationship with other people. I mean, friendship with other teenagers, especially. I will end by saying that you don't choose your future alone. Your friendships help choose it with you. So I want to thank you for being here, listening to me. I want you to have these take homes. I want you to do the weekly task. And if you are seeing me for the first time, please subscribe to this channel. If you have been here but you're not subscribed, please do well to subscribe, and share the link to other people around you, your family, and your friends, especially for the teenagers in your home, those with your children, plus your children. Send them this link to be here, because this month, every week, promises to be awesome for us. I want to thank you for being here. Please give a thumbs up to this video, like it, and till next week, it is bye from me.